Okay, so our guest now found that students from the Faculty of Social Science at the UWI have the weakest performance in academic writing courses. Language communication specialist Dr. Terri-Ann Barrett now joins us on Zoom. Morning, Doc. How are you?
Morning, Doc.
Morning, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Very well.
Great, give
Thank you
thanks.
very much for being on with us this morning.
Yes.
So social sciences specifically.
Right. So at the time that I did my research, the data from the university indicated that students from the social sciences had the least amount of students who matriculated for entry based on the English requirements of the university. So you're supposed to have at least a grade 1 to 3 in CXC, and only 33% of the students who were entering had that. So that's less than 50, right? And when they got in,
Hold on, Doc. Breaks.
yes,
So how they got in?
so interestingly, when you apply to go to UWI, you have to have the grade 1 or 3. If you don't have it, you have to take what is called an English language proficiency test.
That's the
If you
UC
pass that
120 test?
well,
UC.
it's called the ELPT now.
Okay.
And usually it would make you do phone 10 19 if you don't pass it. It's no longer UC 120.
I'm just showing my age there. Sorry about that.
So you say they need English to get into the university, right?
That's right.
Right, but they need other subjects also. Well, they need what, 5 subjects to get in?
I think minimum 5, yes.
Right. So
you must have a grade 1 to 3 in
So
it.
they're obviously competent students for them to get to the university, right?
Exactly.
So-
they should be.
What do you think is wrong? Why they're not proficient in English?
You know, I think this stems from a deeper problem in the Jamaican society because we have essentially a bilingual situation where we have 2 languages, English and Jamaican Creole. And while, for example, in Canada, where there are 2 languages, English will be taught as a second language in Quebec. In Jamaica, that's not the case. And so I think until there's a recognition that we have 2 languages present, we're going to always have a language issue at any level.
Doc, I feel we have 3. We have a third to add, and that's social media. Because I see a lot of applications, I see a lot of essays, and there's a lot of text writing in those essays. There are common I's, there are abbreviations for words that ought to be spelled out, words that ought to be spelled out, spelled differently. So there's a lot creeping into that foundation that's making it unstable. But 33% going in without English is interesting. What is being done, even outside of the ELPT that you spoke about now, to try to strengthen those levels? Because there's a lot of essay writing and long answer questions and critical thinking that ought to happen. If you don't have that foundation taking you through, what are you building on?
Essentially, that's true. And I think that the university has put in place a system where those who do take the ELPT and fail it have to do a year-long course. And so that helps them, you know, with their remedial English skills, I'll put it that way, and also introduces them to academic writing, critical thinking skills, and all of that. So that's what I know has been put in place. There's also a writing center, which helps students if they want, if they seek the help. But a lot of times people don't think they need help because we all came out speaking English, right?
Yeah. I've been sitting in this seat for a long time, and I've interviewed many academics who don't speak standard English all the time. This might sound like a strange question, but how will this hurt these students if they're not proficient in English? Say they're doing courses like, say, they want to be, what, a biochemist or something like that. I know it's a strange question, but how can this hurt those students if they're not proficient in English?
Well, I want you to imagine that you've written a paper and you could have gotten an A, but because the language is not so great, you get a B. So maybe students who would have, had first class honors, they're going to get upper second, lower second because their language is not up to par. Their language skills are not up to par. So it does have an impact, especially in their speaking skills too. And can you imagine when they want to get into the job world and they're, as Simone said, writing a cover letter with text talk. And I've marked exam papers with text talk. So you can imagine that it does indeed have a great impact on their performance, their academic performance and success.
Yep. You mentioned earlier, just before Simone, you mentioned earlier about Canada. You're in Quebec. What about the students? What about the students there? I know they speak French and they speak English, but English. What about the students there? Are they all proficient? I'm using that word again in English.
I'm glad you asked that question. No, they are not. But the difference is here, there is a recognition that they are second speakers of the language. Okay. So when I'm teaching a student English, I am cognizant of the fact that they don't know how to conjugate this, or they might not know, they may not have the vocabulary. I teach with that in mind. But if we are not teaching Jamaican students with that in mind, then they are at a disadvantage.
Okay.
So Doc.
Yes.
The ELPT now, if you don't, you have to pass that within what, the first year? And is it that if you don't pass it, you keep doing it until you do? Can you graduate without it?
After you've taken the ELPT, you are, so everybody gets admitted, even if they don't pass the ELPT. Right? So if they don't pass it, they just have to do the year-long course.
But you have to satisfy the year-long, no? You have to pass that, or once you do it, you're okay?
Right. So they have to pass the year-long course in order to graduate. Now, what we have is some people in their final year of their program, they passed all their other social science courses, accounts, business, administration, whatever it is, and they're in their final year and they cannot graduate because of that. No, I'm no expert. I'm no longer at the University of the West Indies. But this is just a peek at some of the issues that are facing us at the university level.
Okay. Anyone you want to say hi to before we go?
Oh, definitely to my mom and to everyone at UE. My past students and my past colleagues as well.
Okay, you're fluent in French now?
Fluent enough. Je peux parler en français si vous voulez.
Well, no.
Okay, yes, anytime. Yeah. Thanks.
Plenty of those.
We'll take two.
Good to see you. I hope it's not too cold and the snow gone and everything. So look after yourself, all right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
you
man.
take care.
Great to have you with us. She's a language communication specialist, Dr. Terri-Ann Barrett, all the way in Quebec.
Right, well, one way to raise the numbers of proficiency in English before making it to university is with one-on-one educational services. We want to find out more about them.